Hi, love. I literally think this reality is just absolutely insane. And I feel like daily it gets more and more insane. I feel like even people who are looking for a small smidgen of sanity within this reality, who are looking to renew their souls into some sort of baptism of sorts, where they suddenly remember their purity and their glory and they return to God. Even those souls, I feel, carry a hue of insanity because we see it in like the ascension culture. The new age culture just completely went off the rails. It's absolutely crazy. It's basically just a bunch of self-help authors trying to get people motivated. So it's not even really that spiritual. It's more about motivation and making money. And that is sad to me that a culture that was supposed to connect people to divinity, to source, to love, to purity, to some sort of version of community has been thwarted and exercised into a form of complete materialism. As people are out there bragging about how much they made their clients and they're talking about how they can make you 50,000 too, and whether they can do this or not, it doesn't matter. It's about source consciousness and realizing that when you interact with that divine energy, you are completely stunned by the amount of love that reaches your body and soul. And it is this love that we are experiencing a deficit of that is causing insanity in this reality. And so, what we have to do is remember this love, and it's hard to remember the love. And I have a lot of like sympathy for anyone who's trying their best to remember the love, but the love isn't necessarily sparkling in the places you thought it would. Because what happens is when you're a child and you go through trauma and just being a part of this very dark society, that's a trauma. So you go through that trauma. So your neurological pathways, they learn to associate love with darkness and suffering. You're born into this reality of martyrdom where you're taught that suffering is almost a good thing. This is why we see the proclamation and obsession with shame in the Western world. Oh, you're evil because your ancestors did this, because you don't feel bad for someone else, you're a race. There's all of these mechanisms of utilizing shame as a form of constant martyrdom. And this constant martyrdom, it's just a cycle of suffering that people subconsciously, they actually want to get locked into it because when we were younger and we went through traumas, our neurological pathways were taught that suffering was connection. In this reality, when you feel disconnect, when you don't feel love, when you don't feel connection, if someone says to you, I'll give you crumbs of love, I'll give you a minimal version of love by maybe loving you a bit, but smacking you around a bit too, and basically telling you that you're nothing. You start to perceive that nothingness as love. And as you perceive that nothingness as love, you eventually look for suffering to feel a hollowed version of love because that's the only version you've been taught exists. And so this is why I feel for all of us because everyone's trying to find love again, but they're honestly most often doing it through suffering. And it's really frustrating. And when I flip on social media, which isn't that often these days, because it honestly just makes me sad and depressed. And it's not because I want to suffer, but it's because it's just depressing, I think. I see a lot of people looking for love in all the wrong places, a lot of people shaking their butts, a lot of people proclaiming that they're wealthy or pretending to be wealthy, a lot of people desiring to look a certain way, to fit a certain cue, to be a certain person, to feel again just crumbs of love. Material love, it's like 0.1% of what love could actually be. And you would almost say, is it even? I would say it's a negative version, it's an inverted version of what love could actually be because love doesn't focus on the materials, it doesn't focus on the physicality. It's like this physicality, it's not bringing us home to love, it's masking us from love, it's inverting love. And this is why, again, in the new age and spiritual community, we see a supreme obsession with twin flames, soulmates, all of this crazy stuff, because again, It's an obsession with trying to find love in this reality. Any beautiful connection, which is extremely rare, by the way, because we live in an inverted parasitic matrix right now, but any genuine connection, both of those souls are going to realize they have to go to love in another realm. And that love is why in the past these ancient teachers would meditate for so long to find it, because it would be found in other realms. But I just wanted to get on here and vent for a minute. And I hope you're having a beautiful day, and you can create that beautiful life with connection to source if you desire. You just have to know that these temptations to be obsessed with this external reality are not valid. All right, I love you.